All right, what's up? We're back again with another unbiased review. This time we're reviewing Coding Jesus' video, Heartbound is Unfinishable. So it seems like Coding Jesus got his hand on a diff file from Heartbound's code. For those of you who don't know, a diff file is essentially a before and after for a content in file. So it shows subtractions and additions to a file's content, just a before and after. If you're familiar with Git at all, then you'll know git diff, which shows like difference between the latest git snapshot and then the current state of the file. So the additions and subtractions you did to the file compared to the last version that git has of that same file. So it basically just shows like additions and subtractions in a file, difference in two different time frames. So stop blabbing, let's just get into the video. Again, as we've been I'm talking as if my channel has been tens of years old, but I'll try to keep this as unbiased as possible for this video and for all future videos if this channel has a future. So yeah, let's get into it.
Because the next set of lines tell us everything we need to know about why Heartbound's code can no longer scale. What's up, guys? Coding Jesus here.
What's up?
Guys, I was working on my motorcycle.
Damn, that is
all
a cool
peaceful,
motorcycle.
when I all of a sudden...
Hold up.
Jesus here. Guys, I was working on my motorcycle.
Damn, a Kawasaki. Looks pretty cool. I'm not a motorcycle guy. I'm actually a bit scared of them, but that looks dope AF. Also the tattoos, man. I gotta commend you. They look awesome AF.
Well, all peaceful when I all
was that an underwear? I don't think so. Anyway.
of a sudden received a message on Discord. That message contained a file that included a diff between Heartbound's latest release and the release prior. Now, for my non-technical audience, what is a diff? A diff simply stands for difference. It's a comparison between the latest code and the code that existed before it.
Yep.
A diff usually shows additions and subtractions
Of a
from the
file.
previous version
Yep.
to the new version.
So you can see here that, for example, this was deleted and then this was like added. So yeah, the minus here means the line has been deleted, and then the plus means a line has been added. And then these are like changes for the file. So priority equals 1 has been deleted or changed with const auto, and then priority, so on. You can like understand what the file
Why
is.
do I bring this up? Well, one of Jason's most cited reasons as to why Heartbound has been in development for the past 10 years and has been progressing at a snail's pace is that he's bottlenecked on the dialogue.
When the primary bottleneck isn't code, it's actually writing.
It's not the framework, it's not the code, it is the writing.
Okay, this looks like completely and utterly just the like a disingenuous reason, honestly, for a game to be this long in development. So the writing of Heartbound, of course, writing is arguable. Some people could like it, some people could not. But the writing of Heartbound is definitely not the top tier that it would need this many years to be written for, like comparing it to what we have right now in the game. I saw actually just full gameplay of the game, so I know what the hell I'm talking about before I blab and try to stay unbiased. And the game is very quirky and forces jokes, I guess, where it doesn't need to be jokes in there. There's no need for that, but it just forces some jokes. one of the first jokes that you see in the game is like this door is jammed, it's not strawberry. So yeah, it does not take years to write similar to this.
The game's bottleneck isn't
Again, writing, it's just different for everybody. People could like that, people could hate that, and it's the same thing. And there's no way that you would write something or say something that everybody would just like. Everybody like that. That does not happen in real life. But again, we can be objective that this kind of writing, no matter if you think it's good or bad, does not take this many years to be written. That's not possible, because we do have a lot of examples for better written pieces of not necessarily software, but even of just content in general that is better than Heartbound's writing style, I guess. I'm gonna say that Undertale, which Pyre Software himself said that it's an inspiration or it's a cool game that he got inspired from to do what's it called, to do Heartbound. And then its writing is not super far from Heartbound, or Heartbound's writing is not super far from Undertale, but Undertale actually did it better and did it in like what was it, 2 years or 3 years in development? I don't remember the exact number here, sorry, but it's way less than what Pyre Software took, and they are both indie games. Yeah, the art style and the sprites are better in Heartbound, which is something I gotta commend. The art style and the music not as much, but the art style is pretty good. But again, Pyre Software himself is not working on the art style, and it looks like he has all the pieces he needs to actually like make or complete the game. And if he didn't, then he would call that out, like, yo, we are behind because the art style is taking long. But I don't think he ever mentioned it as far as I know. So the writing is not a reason. It's not a good reason.
Programming. It's writing.
In light of that claim and the recent diff that I've been sent, I want to spend the next 5 minutes analyzing just that. Now,
5 minutes for him, 1 hour for me. Sorry, guys. You get used to this. I try to say so much, and then I try to go deeper into any topic that I open. Just trying to give a complete idea about what the heck I'm saying. So you can, like, go in the comments and just spam the shit out of how stupid I am. But I'll try to be as complete and as, well, staying unbiased and as objective as possible.
don't get me wrong, writing is hard.
Yep.
There are plenty of prolific examples out there of authors who haven't produced a new piece of work in years. But those authors aren't working on a 2D game. Neither are those same authors spending 11 hours a day editing a configuration file and playing Minecraft on stream.
Okay, he's being passive aggressive against Pirate Software, but he does have a point. To his credit, Cutting Jesus is stuck in the truth here. It seems like all the dev streams that Pirate Software has been on is just nothing close to a dev stream.
They are writing and they are brainstorming. Now, if I didn't know Jason's character, the fact that he shifts goalposts, smears anyone who gives him an ounce of constructive criticism,
Exclamation mark fridge, exclamation mark fridge. Hardbound runs on a fridge, it literally runs on a smart fridge. And then Steets made the fridge video, and he's a silly wizard at things. I don't know how he accomplished it, and frankly, it does not matter to me. The point of the conversation is that Heartbound is performant and will run on basically anything. Since Heartbound can run on Android devices, Windows, Mac, and Linux on basically no resources, none of this really matters. It's just some weird debunk Thor chain that's become obsessive. Okay.
and never takes accountability, I may have given him the benefit of the doubt here. But instead of just talking,
Did you though? Like the last video, you seemed last video I did a video of. You seemed pretty harsh on the dude.
let's actually take a look at the evidence so we can see
sorry.
what's really going on. Today's video sponsor is me. I built this platform called getcracked.io, which focuses on covering
Dude, there's no way. There's no way he made the code mana gem. You cannot make this shit up. Okay, we're being we'll try to be unbiased here. But this is pretty fucking funny. Code mana gem. If you don't understand this, then you probably did not watch the drama about Pirate Software and his WoW. I guess they called him a roach there by leaving his hardcore teammates. So his teammates in a hardcore WoW game. They were in a dungeon, and then he just dipped on them. I'm not a WoW player, so I will not be commenting on this. But the excuse he said is that he did not have mana. So using mana gem here, okay, this is pretty funny.
everything that is not lead code.
I really love like this kind of humor that's hidden in plain sight and it's not even mentioned. It's just there for you to discover. I do love this type of humor and I do appreciate it every time I see it. So this is awesome.
related to the technical interview. For languages like Python, Rust, C++, that involves concepts like language knowledge, networking, operating systems, concurrency, computer architecture, etc. As you can see, we have over 600 problems that will really test and sharpen your skill set. Check it out. Because this is a diff of production, test and sharpen.
I want to see this actually. So what is the question here? If I. I'm cooked. Random question. Okay. Void bar. And then what do we need to do here? I don't understand honestly.
Your skill set.
Oh, there we go. So observe the code snippet below. What is the result? Okay. So I guess you just have to go through the code. Okay, now I see.
Because this is a diff of production code, I won't be displaying or sharing any of it. Instead, what I've done is rename or change every method, number, file name, and variable to the point where the code contains nothing Heartbound related, but whose general structure still retains that of Heartbound's. In other words, the only thing that changed is the data.
The moment I opened this video, I was a bit worried that it's going to show like actual code. And then Pirate Software could just claim it's a hacked code or disassembled illegally or something like that. But it looks like Coding Jesus is doing great here by just not showing the code, but just showing the flow of the code, using something that resembles the code, but not the actual code. Good job.
The code flow is the exact same. Let's take a look and see whether or not the writing really is the bottleneck. Starting from the top of the diff, changes are sorted by file name. Jason actually has decent naming for his files, and luckily for us, those that are dialogue related are all at the top of the diff. Including lines of code produced by the diff tool, Git, used for annotation, we have give or take around 381 lines of dialogue. The total diff size is 1,780 lines.
Okay.
The diff actually doesn't contain the full code change, so it's possible there are more lines of dialogue that are not included here. This is actually irrelevant for my point.
Okay.
Once again,
all pertinent file names, variables, method, and numbers have been changed so they bear no resemblance to character, themes, or objects in Heartbound code.
Is irrelevant for the point I'm about to make. Because the next set of lines tell us everything we need to know about why Heartbound's code can no longer scale and why its development has crawled at a snail's pace.
So everywhere, narrative flat data structure. This is just global dot and then storyline, is it not? I can easily just translate this back to the original code, but it's not the original code, so there's nothing you can say there. If you're smart enough, you can do it, but massive flat data structure. And then everywhere instead of global. This is funny. I like this guy. Kudos to not to Heartbound. Kudos to Coding Jesus.
Let's zoom in on the third line in the change set. Minus 13, 9, plus 13, 1,164. What does this mean? It means that there were previously 9 lines of code here, starting at line 13. Now there are 1,164 lines of code here, starting at line 13. In other words, 1,151 lines of code were added. Let's take a look at these obfuscated lines. As you can see, the game makes a
let's let him speak, and then I comment at the end.
Decision based on the upcoming step. This represents the next scene. There are around 168 case statements that follow. In other words, there are 168 potential events that can take place, each with their own upcoming step and copied and pasted code.
Okay, so else if everywhere.speaker equals identifier. Okay. Switch upcoming step. Case 10, upcoming step equals 21, current communication equals 22. Contend animal change words. Activate speech. Upcoming step equals 12, current communication 323. That is a lot and a lot of magic numbers over there.
Take place, each with their own upcoming step and copied and pasted.
By the way, I'm not gonna be repeating myself. Was what I said in the original video. It was 1 hour long, so I'll just be going over this video like really quick, or at least as quick as I can, because I already reviewed the full, or I guess the code that we had on a previous video. I'm gonna leave the link to that video in the description.
Code. Jason has reached the point of no return. The amount of branching out paths has become so convoluted. His endless switch statements to handle diverging paths has left him at a point where even one spelling mistake can lead you down the wrong branch.
Just pass it to Claude, bro. Just pass it to AI. It's gonna fix it.
And where adding scenes is a game of copy and paste.
By the way, that was a joke. AI is probably not gonna fix it.
We'll touch on important decisions that could have been made, leveraged by games like Detroit Becoming Human, that could
Detroit Become Human.
mistake can lead you down the that could have been made, leveraged by
Detroit Become Human is a must play. If you have not played this game, it is a must play. Do it. I can see you. Yeah, you. Download Detroit Become Human right now and play it. I'm not affiliated with this game, but I love this game. This is an awesome game.
games like Detroit Becoming Human that could have prevented this in just
Detroit Become Human, not becoming, so you don't search for the wrong thing.
a moment. To emphasize just how much of a mess this is for the non-technical audience, imagine a ball of yarn. Before you retire that ball of yarn following your knitting session, you need to ensure that it is well put together. If you just throw the ball of yarn back into the trunk, you'll find yourself several knitting sessions later dealing with a jumbled ball of yarn, not knowing where to start or how to proceed. Jason's code is now that jumbled ball of yarn. So how do games like Detroit Becoming Human build a narrative engine
Become Human.
on their game? They do so using a graph-based system. For my technical audience, this is a directed acyclic graph, or DAG, of states. For my non-technical audience, this is a flow diagram, or
The game on the left is Mass Effect. This is the game that I was talking about in my previous video. Was it in my previous video? Or was it on... I think it was on my Subnautica 2 stream, actually. Anyway, Mass Effect, a game that you also must play. Play it, play the entire thing. Just get Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and then play Detroit Become Human. Both games are... Actually, Mass Effect is 3 games. The Legendary Edition is 3 games. 1, 2, and 3. Play those, and then play Detroit Become Human. You will not be disappointed.
behavior tree.
Okay, I should stop here. Maybe Mass Effect 3 is a little bit disappointing to some people, especially the ending. I'm not going to give any spoilers. But again, you will not be disappointed overall.
Core game logic reads from data tables or JSON-like files that describe A, nodes, B, conditions, and C, effects, not excluding any other project-specific information that's needed. In building this decision engine, programmers don't actually write any C++ or Lua. They simply populate spreadsheets or visual editors to build new scenes and new dialogue.
Yep.
That way, they spend less time on the framework and more time on their creative writing.
Yep.
If you wrote Detroit Becoming Human with nested ifs and cases like we've seen in Jason's work, you'd explode the codebase, risking a single addition breaking branches in hundreds of places. Without going into too much detail as to bore the non-technical audience, common design patterns used in narrative-based systems include 1. The observer pattern, where NPCs listen for updates propagated by other objects, changing their own internal state as a result. For example, when the Alice Rescued event is propagated, the cutscene manager triggers alternative dialogue. Another common pattern is the command pattern, where we encapsulate decisions and actions as objects. Each decision is encapsulated in a command object.
So I'm not going to comment on the code that is Coding Jesus is showing, because it's explaining things in Detroit Become Human. This is why we have a class called Marcus and then Protest Peacefully command. These are all events in the game itself, but essentially it just shows how you can implement multiple branches depending on specific conditions, much better than what Heartbound is doing.
Making it easier to queue, undo, or replay, for example, in a flowchart. I can keep going, but I think you get the point. It's become more than obvious at this stage. The bottleneck is not writing, it's the code. That is, if Jason actually wanted to write instead of playing Minecraft or hurling insults at other creators. The thing is, I wouldn't even blame him if he just came out and said he makes more money streaming than he does developing Heartbound, and as a result, he's not interested in continuing the project.
That's a big problem though, because Heartbound is funded. Like it was what was it, GoFundMe or whatever. So like people in the community paid for the game before the game was actually released. Which I have multiple, like I'm torn apart about the idea of doing this, because sometimes you actually have like a very good game but you don't have the funds to do it, and then the community can actually make you like create something amazing. But then again, there are situations like a bunch of scams that happen. Essentially, just like raise a GoFundMe or something similar, and then you just take the money and dip. Like nobody's gonna get you back. You know. I'm torn apart about this. I'm not gonna talk about it. It's a double-edged, I guess, sword. But again, I don't think Pirate Software can just say, "I will not be working on this project," because that will be literally scamming. Probably some legal implications there. So yeah, he cannot say it. He can do it. He can just keep delaying the game, but I don't think he can say it like clearly.
But at this stage, my opinion is that he's using Heartbound as a way to pad his resume so he can maintain the game developer moniker. Heartbound isn't done because it's not supposed to be done, both from the technical perspective that it is impossible to complete, and the behavioral perspective that leaving it unfinished allows him to pretend that he's working on something meaningful and important. That's just...
Okay, impossible to create is something that I disagree with. Impossible to continue, something that disagree with. Also, keeping Heartbound to pad his resume. His resume for what exactly? Like, if he's still keeping the persona of this god programmer, and then 27 years of experience in game development, and then 34 and a half years of Blizzard working and all of that stuff, his community already ate that shit up, so there's no reason to keep Heartbound as a patent to his resume. I mean, sure, having 2 games instead of 1 under your belt is way better than saying we only made like Hearts of or Champions of Breakfast or whatever. Having Heartbound there as well increases his aura level, so that he gets a buff, I guess. So whenever maybe he talks to investors or some shit like that, he can just tell them, yeah, we have 2 games instead of having 1 game. But again, I don't think he's doing that, and I don't think he even needs to do that because he's making a lot of money off streaming. Or at least he used to before he completely fucked up his career, you know? Before he made everybody hate him. But again, we're trying to be as unbiased as possible here, and we'll just say that I don't think it's impossible to finish Heartbound. It's definitely possible, especially now we have AI that can do a lot of things. But again, maybe he just lost passion for the game, especially that he already made a lot of money off of it, Steam sales and the funding. And also, the code is just terrible to work on. But just let AI finish the game for you, honestly. Like if I was Pirate Software, I'd just let AI try to finish the game for me and then just push whatever updates to the game and accept the backlash that I'm gonna get. Or maybe AI is just gonna do like a much better job, and then it's going to actually like get me out of this Heartbound drama that I'm in. I rewind a bit because I want to hear what he said again.
Leaving it unfinished allows him to pretend that he's working on something meaningful and important. That's just my opinion. I'll let you come to your own conclusion.
So he's stuck on here something a bit more psychological, like trying to convince yourself that you're working on something important. And I do understand that you're somebody that is... I will not pretend to be a psychologist, but some people do need self affirmation, self confirmation that I'm important. I'm working on something that matters, and even if they have to trick themselves to do so by just lying to themselves. But I don't feel this is good enough, because he could just say that, look at myself when I start streaming. I get like 8,000 people. Me here, if I get 8 people, I'd be super happy. I'd feel wow. Look at me. I'm super famous right now. Like Tectone, watch out, bro. I'm coming for your place. But he has he won awards. He has DEF CON badges, which I don't know if he won legitimately himself or he was just part of a team that won them. A lot of talk about this part, which we do not have enough information to talk about and speak about it unbiased. So we're gonna leave that. But essentially, he has a lot more reasons to affirm to himself that he's an OG. You know, more than just working on Heartbound, especially after all the shit that he's been getting after he showed his code and people just started digging in his past and all of that. So he, from my opinion, of course, again, this is an opinion and we're trying to get in Jason's head here. But again, he has a lot more stuff to be proud of than just Heartbound. I don't know. These are all personal opinions. There's nothing that you can say with evidence here.
I'm just here to review the code.
Mm-hmm.
If you like the video, consider liking and subscribing. If you want to go above and beyond, consider becoming a channel member or patron. And remember to test your own coding skills for free on getcrack.io. Thanks for watching.
So yeah, give Coding Jesus a like and subscribe if you like technical stuff, because he is he's been great. Also the little hints that he's throwing, the little like funny stuff like the management thing, I love that shit. So yeah, thank you Coding Jesus for making this video. I'm gonna tag the original video in the description as well as my old video that I did on this topic. Well, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, you know, all that good stuff. I'm just starting out. If you like more comments, if you like more content like that, then just let me know in the comments. Seeing that people actually agree or disagree with me makes me more motivated to make more content like this, and keep this channel like filled with unbiased content as much as, well, unbiased is also a bit subjective, I guess. But I'll try to keep as unbiased of opinions as possible. And if you like that stuff, just give me a push in the comments. Disagree with me in the comments and let's have a chat. I would love that. And yeah, see ya.